Managing multiple clients or large websites? Automate your SEO with Alley AI. Start your free trial now.
Taylor Swift is a link builder. There were rumors that she would get engaged. Our client said, let's give them a free wedding venue. And then we got them 50 links. That's digital PR.
Wix Studio, one end-to-end web creation platform for your agency to deliver exceptional work with absolute efficiency.
Great. So, thank you for that intro. So Daniel Kahneman, a Nobel Prize-winning psychologist, once said, "What you see is all there is." It's a simple statement, but it holds profound truth, especially in the world of SEO. Because if your clients aren't able to see the progress being made, in their minds simply there actually isn't any. So this quote actually hit home to me one evening. One of those late nights in the office where the fluorescent lights flickering are just enough to remind me that I've probably stayed a little bit too late. But by office, I obviously mean sat alone on a Friday night in my one-bedroom apartment in London, wondering where it's all gone wrong, because clearly I have little to no social life. But I'm going to blame it on the fact that London's a pretty expensive place to live. So anyway, I'm sat there, I'm sipping my coffee, it's doing a poor job of convincing me that it's still fresh, and then an email comes into my inbox. I'm sure you may have seen this before. We're going to have to reconsider our budget for next quarter. Oh, right? Now, if you've been in the SEO game as long as I have, you'll understand that's corporate speak for we're pulling the plug, thanks for nothing. If you've gotten an email like this, it's genuinely a punch in the gut. But who said scaling an SEO agency would be easy? Anyway, I won't actually be too afraid to admit it, that this wasn't an isolated incident, and it had probably started to become a little bit too familiar. Customers would start extremely keen, ready to conquer the world, but as a few short months passed, their certainty waned. They couldn't see the macro progress fast enough, and they began to lose faith. So what we decided to do and what we started to consider was actually the problem wasn't with the service or the strategy or the solution, it was actually simply the way that we were communicating it. So we decided to restructure our keyword data completely so that all the data that we gave to customers was one, easy to grasp and something that they could really feel confident about, something that would show them where they are right now but also a path forward. And that's really what I'm going to share with you here today is one of the areas we restructured was our keyword research process, and by implementing just very, very simple strategies and tools, very cheap, we were able to just start visualizing our data, and our customers were getting bought in now for longer and actually spending more money. Because at the end of the day, it's not all about data, right? It's about how we tell the story. So what are we actually going to cover today? So the first is why clients lose faith. Now, this is predominantly a talk towards agency owners or freelancers who are potentially struggling with client churn. Two is how to just restructure the keyword research slightly so that we can create these visual topical maps really, really easy, which is something I want to share with you. And then at the end of it, just full access to all the tools, all the prompts, all the spreadsheets, and a video walkthrough of me actually doing it live, because 20 minutes is not a lot of time, right? So just briefly, actually, who am I? So the first is just to reintroduce myself. My name's Adam Collins. I'm the director of a SEO agency based in London called Ignite SEO. I have 13 years agency experience as a developer in agencies, then owning a full service agency, and then running this agency, Ignite SEO. And I'm also the sexiest man in London. Well, I was when I last checked anyway. So, well, I'm actually sharing this with Jeremy Clarkson, which I think, is hit and miss. But Adam Collins has earned the title of London's sexiest man, not only for his sharp SEO skills, but his blend of professionalism, style, and charm. So I'll roll with that one. So I'm sure you guys have heard this concept of like topical authority and topical coverage. Fundamentally, in regards to communicating this to a client, it's actually very easy at the point of sale. Like, who doesn't want to be a thought leader? Who doesn't want like this long-term sustainable growth? The problem does come at like month 4 or 5 when probably the CEO is going to the marketing manager like, well, traffic's increasing, we're getting a little bit more sales, but it's not fast enough for all the money that we're spending. We need quicker results. And that's really when clients begin to churn. And that's really what we wanted to touch upon here, is like, how can we help those guys actually communicate that better with the CEOs. This is the standard sort of churn cycle here. So obviously customers start out, they're super engaged, they're excited, you're building the strategy, it's taking a couple of months. Month 4, month 5, if the results aren't hitting home as quick as you would hope, a little bit of doubt starts coming in. Month 6 or 7, they start getting frustrated. Usually they're getting pressured from other people in the company, and then they churn. Now, if anyone has run an SEO agency, you'll understand like the initial sort of 6 months as an agency where you're spending the most money, the most resources, the most time. So for a client to churn then, you don't get the recurring benefit of sort of the retainer in the long run. But then also you've got to go and acquire that customer again. It's a bit of a nightmare. So really what we want to try and do is figure out how we can keep customers to stay longer so that the SEO can really start taking effect and they can get those wins. I just briefly wanted to touch upon the fact, because we looked at technical solutions to why they were churning and psychological solutions. Now, the technical solutions, so this is an example which I did for just Google, like how did Google actually dominate search? Technically, they had a larger index, they had page rank, they returned the most relevant results. But psychologically, for like the end user, it was the fact like when you went to Google, that was all they did, right? They were just the search engine. So I guess the end user was like, right, these are the experts at that. This is all they do. Another potential psychological benefit is the fact like they push this, we're continued innovation, we're better than everyone else. So you assume that by going there, you're going to be getting the best results. Now, these are all psychological benefits at the end of the day. So what we need to do in order to sort of psychologically put together these topical, to sort of increase the psychological benefits and put together these sort of very simple topical maps, and there are tools which do this, by the way. The problem is that as an agency owner, I don't want to like leave that to chance. I want to leverage tools, and then I want my guys to be able to go in, tweak it, and present something. Because if you've ever gave like an export from like one of these clustering tools, some of the stuff which is picked up in there is like shocking, and that's enough to literally just kill a client's faith in you. So the first thing that we would need to do is just restructure the keyword research just slightly. I'm not going to go into keyword research too much here. One of the first things was this topic down approach, where they primarily pick a topic that they want to focus on, and then we work down into subtopics or topical clusters. We work out the spokes, sub-keywords, all the rest of it. This topic-down approach, and we sell that to customers now, is a great way of getting them bought in. So if it stops project creep as well, because if they want something else, you can say, well, this is a new topic, it's going to be this, we've got to go through the keyword research element. So it's a really good upsell as well. The second is, if you're going to go to this extent of clustering and mapping, just make sure that they buy into the strategy and the keywords first and foremost. It will save you a lot of time later on. And the third thing is something which we really are big fans of, is the avalanche SEO strategy. I'm not sure whether you guys, I'm sure many of you have already heard of it. This is like a really good way of showcasing the avalanche strategy in a mind map as well. And it's a great way of like boosting that into customers, because you can show the different tiers that they're going on. Okay, so how do we do this topic-down approach? Firstly, for keyword research, then I'll show you the AI and all the rest of it after. So the first is, right, how do we structure the keyword research? So the first is a topical map. Then you've got like a topical clusters, or topical clusters underneath, which are primarily like subtopics, right? They're going to be groups of pages. And then underneath that, you have spokes. Spokes are just fundamentally keyword clusters, right? Keywords clustered into a page. So you can call them pages if you want to. So let's say we take the topical map of like social media, for example. Let's say one of the topical clusters is social media management. Under that, they might have, say, 3 spokes, 3 pages: creating a social media plan, best social media tools, and social media analytics guide, okay? For a spoke example then, let's take the creating a social media plan. The keywords associated that might be social media planning template, social media plan examples, social media plan checklist. Obviously our job, or you can use tools, is to group these together into logical pages, okay? Andy Chadwick, who owns Keyword Insights, who I'm a big fan of, he puts it as a collection of closely related keyword clusters can be combined to create a topical cluster. And these are sort of the 3 magic rules if you're doing this. The first is like the relevancy of the pages to each other. The second is making sure that the intent of the pages and the clusters is correct. And the third is making sure that you interlink these pages together and then back up to the pillar pages as well. I think if you can do those things, they sound simple, but actually pretty tricky to do at scale, you'll have a lot of success with your topical clusters. The big thing with this is, and it's just because of the way we're going to work with the AI, is the Google Sheet format. Now, I'll give you this template, so at the end I'll allow you to scan a QR code and you can download it all. But the big thing about the sheet, the Google Sheet, is on the left-hand side, the first column is the topical map. right? And then what you do is everything under that topical map, you leave blank spaces, if that makes sense. And you can see like we merge them. Is this a laser? Yeah, we merge the layers. The second is like the topical cluster. So you can see here, SEO Agency London is one of the topical clusters. Another cluster is Affordable SEO London. And then to the right of that, you've got the spokes, the pages. So you've got SEO Agency London, Local SEO Agency London, E-commerce SEO London, etc. We really like putting the secondary keywords that we cluster together in notes in the Google Sheet. It makes it very, very formatted. And then what we do is once we finished it, we literally just merge the rows together. And that means in Google Sheets that you can just filter it. It's so, so easy to do. But as long as you follow this format, everything to the right of this can be search volume, can be the intent of the page, what map URLs, does the page already exist, what secondary keywords, maybe you're doing like the tier analysis, maybe you're using things like KGR. You can do all of that stuff there. You can put backlinks in if you really want to. I would do yourself a massive favor and either use a tool like InLinks, for example, or Keyword Insights. I've mentioned Keyword Insights because it's just a crucial part of our strategy. I would never just leave it fully to an AI tool, like a clustering tool, personally, because we have to give this to a client, right? And we had a couple of horror stories, I'll be honest, which I can't bring up here. But the first is the fact that it can automate the keyword clustering. Like so many times I still see people like trying to figure this stuff out by themselves. Like allow a tool to do 90% of it and just finish the 10% off. And the second is it formats the data perfectly in an export which fits into the format that we need, which is topical map, topical cluster, and spoke. So it makes it very, very easy. So I would get your keywords together, upload it into Keyword Insights, you'll then get the export, and then just put it into our format. Make sure sense check it, right? Just because a tool says something, like speak to the customer, does actually these make logical sense? But format it into the Google Sheet, into that format, and we're sort of ready to go for the nice AI, prepping the data with AI and then moving it into the mind map. So the two things we need to do now is use AI to format the data into just a really simple TXT file, which is actually a little bit trickier to do consistently every single time you do it because sometimes it can hallucinate, but fortunately we have all the prompts which you can use, and again I've got a video going through it as well. And then the second is, well, how can we just simply visualize that data in software that I'm not trying to sell to you and doesn't cost you absolute arm and a leg, right? And that you have full access to and that you can share with the customer to get them bought in. If you guys haven't used Julius, actually, I'm just going to have a sip of my drink a second, sorry. I wanted a rum, but they're not serving alcohol yet, so, but yeah. If you guys haven't used Julius AI, for me, I just love this tool, right? This AI tool, it's super cheap. It's amazing for data analysis, communicating with data, communicating with multiple spreadsheets. But the reason we're going to use it in this format is basically for data prep, right? Which I'll show you how to do now. But it's so good as well. I'll include another video in the thing about me using it to do a content audit, software content audit. It's a really, really awesome tool. So the first prompt that we're going to do, now I'm not going to sit and read all the prompts out to you. Like I said, again, I'll send it to you if you want them. But the first prompt is, I'll explain basically what it does. It's to analyze the hierarchical structure in the spreadsheet that we have. And basically we just want Julius to go, okay, I understand that there's this like left to right structure with the topical map, topical cluster to spoke. Really, what you should hope that you get back is something like the hierarchical structure is indicated by the empty cells in the topical map and the topical cluster columns, which suggests that the spoke keywords are part of the same cluster or map as the previous non-empty cells. Again, we're going left to right, okay? Topical map, topical cluster, spoke. As long as it comes up with something like that, you know, okay, right, it's understanding that relationship. The second prompt is all about converting that hierarchy into basically an indented text file, right? And that's what we're going to use to import into this very, very simple, cheap mind map solution. The goals for prompt 2 are to confirm the intention that we want a TXT export, to maintain the hierarchical structure by using indentations, to simplify the data, so we're not going to worry about search volume and all that stuff yet, we just want the hierarchy, and then we want to check the correct indentation at the end. And this is basically, I know it's quite small, but this is like the export that it will give you, and you can see like the relationships between them. So these are all child pages of this is the cluster of that, etc. And this is the way it works down. So like now we have this, we can just clean it up and add more data to it really nice and easily. So prompt 3 is, right, how do we format and refine the keyword listings? So this is the prompt here. Again, I'm not going to read it, but this is where we're adding in all of the extra variables into the equation. The goal for prompt 3 is add the additional keyword research data as much or as little as you like. You may want to add more if it's just an internal file. If it's a client-facing file, you might want to actually reduce it. Remove redundant entries. For example, you may have multiple pages, so we clear all that out. And then improve the readability of the keyword research data as well. So rather than saying like intent informational, just use like an acronym, right? Like I, or rather than search volume, use like SV. It's just something. But the thing is, you can add this and change this. It's pretty easy to do. This is like the export that it will give you. So again, we went through as well and just corrected all the capitalization. But it's basically giving you all the data. Now, I've decided to go a bit extra in this and put in all these extra potential variables. The really interesting point here is the fact that we've got these existing and new. So we're able to like do the keyword mapping. And this is like an up-close personal. What you want is this level of indentation here. So SEO London is the topical map. SEO Agency London is a topical cluster. Search volumes, keyword difficulty, existing. And then you've got like the spokes underneath as well. This is so easy as well, right? At being able to figure out what things need to internally link to what things. It just makes it so much easier. Awesome. So we're getting towards sort of the end of the presentation. So what we do now, again, I'm a big believer of like not overcomplicating it. We're an agency. We want to try and find the simplest solution. I don't want to be building bespoke software. It's not for me. There's a great tool called MindMeister, which is like $9 a month, something like that, super cheap. And it allows you to just create these visual topical maps, add data, color code it. There's shareable maps that you can give to the customer as a live file, live deliverable. I'm amazed that such a simple solution was able to like transform the fact of how happy customers are and how long customers now stay with us versus when we just would give them a Google sheet. It's so easy to do. I'm not going to go through the process here because it literally takes 1 second. You just go import and import that TXT, and it will literally create the topical maps for you based on the indentation. So you can see here, there's our SEO London one, these pages here, then you've got these pages here. So it's such a simple way. Now, I'm not saying there's not better. SEMrush has this crazy tool. I'm sure Inlinks has a tool which does a lot of this. But again, for us, we want to make sure that we have the final say. We want to make sure we go through everything, and we want to make sure what we're giving to the customer is there's no mistakes in it, right? And this level of control allows us to do that. A few like super basic tips that I would recommend. The first is like spend a bit of time formatting the map. Like you could give that to the customer if you want to, but like why not spend a little bit of time, half an hour or something, and go through and format it. The sort of the basic strategy that I would give you is just something like super easy for the customer to see, right? So red, for example, is a page which doesn't yet exist on the site, right? Green is a page which is on the site, has been fully optimized. Yellow is a page which is on the site but hasn't yet been optimized. I think that's a really important thing. Once you've done that and you feel confident with that, I would 100% create like an explainer video or pull them onto a call and take them through it. Get them like bought into the strategy, and they're gonna then they're really involved in regards to the process. I would just take them through the individual topical maps, explain to them, but the real true beauty of the whole process is you can start to upsell them, because let's say, for example, a lot of SEO agencies will do 3 articles a month, 4 articles a month, or whatever it may be, right? But what you can then do is be like, well, our SEO London topical map, it's going to take 10 months to complete. But if you up it to 3 or 4, this is a really important cluster to your business, why don't you do an extra 4 articles a month for the next 4 months, extra couple of grand a month or whatever. It's just a super powerful way. And because it's so simple, but because it's visualized, they're like, oh yeah, I want to get that all to green a lot faster than if I didn't. If you guys don't use a CRM, you can use MindMeister, so to really help with sort of the task management rather than CRM. So it has a great feature for notes where you can put all the secondary keywords in, the map URLs, where the clients can make comments, etc. But one of the things which is really good is the fact that you can actually turn a lot of these I don't know, mind items, I'm not really sure what the technical term is, into tasks, so that you can actually use this for task management. So again, you could give that to the customer if you want to, or if you're using obviously your own task management system, you can do that. And then literally every single month, send them a loom or pull them on a call and show them through it. And the big thing that we did is show them like a percentage to completion. So like this topical map here is 40% complete, you know, and the estimated time it's going to take is now 5 months. That, when they're speaking to, like, when the CEO's hounding them, like, come on, like, where is this? When's it going to rank? They can literally just screenshot it or forward the email on or whatever, a dashboard, whatever you want to do it, and see, like, okay, well, we're 5 months away from this. And it's just such a better tool to be able to do it. And we've found it's extended, like, our contract length by about 60 to 70%, which is awesome, right? It's a lot of money to a business. And then this is like we do more complex ones than this. I'll take you through one in the videos, which we do. But this is just like a very, very simplistic one, just for the sake of the talk, right? Because obviously I don't want to sit here and go, oh, change this, use this hex code, blah, 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 blah. But it's a very, very simple way to be able to visualize data. And sometimes like the simplest solutions are the best, right? It doesn't always have to be crazy expensive things. And that's it. So I got 30 seconds, so pretty much bang on. You can get all the free resources. So there's a couple of benefits. So you get all the spreadsheets, all the prompts, etc., all the templates. I'm doing video guides, which will take you through like a case study all the way through to the end of how to do it, how to style it, etc. One of the things, don't do the mind maps in your house. Like, get a VA, by the way, to do that, or like someone who's not going to charge you an arm and a leg, because it doesn't take long to do. And most importantly, the keyword insights. I spoke to Andy, and he's got you guys like a special Brighton SEO discount as well. So you guys can, if you haven't tried that, you can give it a try and save some money. Thank you very much. Pleasure. Cheers.
Monthly reporting making you want to shove sharp things up your nose? Try Dragon Metrics, the all-in-one SEO software with mind-blowing reporting tools.